When you make more of your home with Valspar, you want to keep doing more. Like maybe you want to make your powder room more colorful, or make your basement more waterproof, or make your exterior more Mother Nature proof, or make your driveway more protected, or make your deck look more barbecue worthy, or make your curb appeal more curb appealing. Whatever project is next on your list, Valspar makes all the products and tools to help you make more of it. Valspar, made for more. Available at Lowe's.
We can officially start the show. Okay, moving on here. My Chess, welcome back for the second night in a row. And Mr. Catfish looking good tonight. Cryptid 559er, what's happening? And who else do we have joining us? Let's just take a quick scroll here. Microglobe, welcome to SOR chat. And the gorgeous Cryptid Huntress. There she is. We love our Jessica Jones around here. She's ours, all ours. Steve Wolf, good to see you. And SJ, it's been a while. Where have you been hiding? Penman, what's happening, buddy? Good to see you. We are running out of time. Noble Patrick, Steve Wolf, and who else is here? I don't know. I'm scrolling. Yay! Nice to see you. And let's see. And hello to everyone. I'm caught up. Remember, a great way to support this show is through the Super Chat. The Super Chat is always open, even when the show is over. And, of course, you can always do some shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store on our website because we have some cool swag there. We really do. And it's all for you guys. So make sure you check it all out. We got some great designs like the Merle shirt. You can get your own Merle shirt. We're going to design a Geraldine Orozco shirt. Just going to be nice hair. That's it. Do me a favor, everybody. It's that time. Horns up. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Odyssey Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got one hell of a show for you tonight. We are going to go all the way down to Mexico, where the lovely and talented Geraldine Orozco is living on the beaches, tanning her legs, and doing whatever. I don't know where she is, to be absolutely honest. I have no clue where she is. I'm just guessing that she took a vacation because she skipped out on our Vegas party. So I'm just going to say that because I would go to Mexico if I could. Okay, moving on. Where else are we going? Oh, yeah. We got Swamp Dweller in hour number 3. Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio is going to tell us another spooky story. And we'll get to Shirky Poo's news as well. Of course, we love it when our good friend Geraldine Orozco joins us on Spaced Out Radio each and every week. GeraldineOrozco.com is her website where she comes on in and helping us with our spiritual side, helping us find our Zen and our Chi. Based out of San Francisco, California, she owns Bay Area Meditation in there, and her job literally to help counsel people spiritually, healing-wise, a little bit of DNA reactivation, and just for good sorts, if you're an ET contactee, well, hell, she'll deal with you too. Geraldine Orozco, it is always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How are you, my beautiful friend?
Hello, I am fantastic. It's such a pleasure to be here, as always.
So, I'm going to ask you, how was your holiday since you skipped out on Vegas?
Well, it was a rough start, but it's okay. It's okay for now. We'll see what happens. I'm so sorry that I missed Vegas. Wow, but I did follow along and I saw your lives and it looked incredible. How was it?
Well, it was. I'm not going to tell you it was awesome because then you're going to be feel really bad that you didn't make it. But it was awesome. And
Yeah.
are those dogs in the background? Did you get dogs?
Oh, no, no, no. They're not my dogs. They're the neighborhood dogs. Sorry
Okay.
about that. It's a
Oh,
little
that's all
loud. I
right.
guess we have
That's all
some
right.
amazing sound going on tonight.
All right. So we are going to tell our audience here that you are not in a bathroom. You're sounding a little hollow, but you're not in a bathroom, and you are
Oh, really? Huh.
But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to make it through. It's going to sound good. Your hair looks great, as per
Okay,
usual.
good.
You know, I mean, I wouldn't, I'm sure you have a fine choice of shoes on tonight, as you normally do. But nonetheless, thank you so much for all your love and support of what we do here on Spaced Out Radio. And, I mean, I know that the beaches of wherever you're hiding right now, are much more better than Vegas, where it was just a bunch of dark, dingy UFO talk. Geraldine, we always have a lot of people who are new here tuning us in for the first time. And for you, you're somebody who had a spiritual awakening in 2013. It has led you to become one of the most prolific speakers in our genre over that short amount of time to help counsel people and understand what is going on with themselves. When you look back on your last 4 or 5 years, did you ever think that this would be your new life?
No, not at all. I mean, if I would go back even 6 years ago, I really didn't even think I was going to be doing what I'm doing right now. So it is really an incredible life-changing experience, and all of it was because of my awakening. All of it was because of seeking truth, or trying to, this idea that you are looking for truth, and in other words, just completely decompartmentalizing everything around me to the point where I was deprogramming myself. And I think that once people wake up and they get that call to drive into this questioning of reality and consciousness, you really begin to kind of go into places that expand yourself, your life. You kind of find your mission, one could say, or what you're supposed to be doing. So it's an honor to be here, and I'm humbled by how this process has brought me to where I am today, and just happy to be of service. That's just basically what I'm here for.
Geraldine, when you are dealing with people, there is always a chance that you're going to take on their energy and, almost carry the chains of those who we help. How do you define yourself as a person who has the strength to help people and overcome their emotional, spiritual abilities? Mm-hmm. Or blockages, I should say.
One of the most important things that we need to learn as individuals, not just healers, is understanding what energy is, understanding that we are energy, understanding how to own our space, and that everything external to us, not only is it a reflection of us, but it is ourselves. We are kind of mirrored. We are mirrored in our environment, in our experiences. And so once you really understand what that means, even when you're doing healing sessions, you understand that you are the one that's here. And a lot of healing that we do with clients, as far as I can see for the past many years that I've been working with them, is that there are phases of healing that we go through collectively in the world. And so an intuitive picks up on that phase, that cyclical cleansing and uprising of certain data in the collective that is made available for healing. And so we hold space for that. And so the idea is that a healer will already have gone through that healing process so that they are able to hold space and support, not like someone that is getting involved emotionally, because then we become entangled energetically, but as an observer, a neutral observer that is completely aware of themselves, owning their space in such a way that they can channel white source light through their body. And only then can the other, this being, find themselves through resonance, through vibrational frequency, and through the awareness of their body. it's like a merging of energies between things. We're one. Remember that. Where there's nothing separate, but at the same time, when what we're interacting with is aspects of ourselves. So this is healing is a very, very important. Those of you that are healers, and I know there's a lot here in the chat as well. To hold and be neutral when you do healings in order to not take on everything from other people. It's very important. And it's a learning process. You're going to, as a healer myself, I'm always learning, always finding different levels of what that really means and the embodiment of that.
For you, how do you go about making sure that you're not taking on someone else's negative energy or spiritual blockages?
Yeah, it's the same. It's being neutral, not observing, not judging. So I think the key word is that we're not judging what we're listening to from our clients, because we, as a psychotherapist, I have to deal with people that have gone through profound trauma in their lifetimes, and sometimes the things that you hear are incredibly shocking to you. But as a healer, our job, and at least in my perspective and what I do in my work, cultivating a state of complete neutrality and having met my shadows and following my shadows to the collective shadows through really internal deprogramming to the point where now shadows don't trigger an emotional response in me. So when I have a client that has something, what we would see as horrific happen to them, anytime that we judge what we hear, we are literally creating an energetic cord that throws energy back and forth between us. And we become entangled in that if we go deeper into that judgment. Any part of us that feels helpless when we hear something, confused, overwhelmed, doesn't know how to deal with the information they're dealing with, can cause a fragmentation, similar trauma in yourself than in your client. So it's really important to maintain complete neutrality, non-judgment, and just observe. Your job is to hold space. Your job is to hopefully even better to channel, source and love, unconditional love through your body so that you can hold space for the other person to heal.
Every day there are people awakening. Take Erica, for instance, who is brand new to our chat room, finally being able to catch us live. She goes, I don't know about anyone else, but I have come to another awakening process, I guess I would say, or I guess you would call it, or whatever. The idea is every day there are people, Geraldine, who are waking up to a new foundation of life, whether it's a download, whether it's just a spiritual awakening, a near-death experience, the death of a loved one, or maybe they just feel that it's time to enlighten himself because the world has become very, very heavy. What do you say to new people who are opening up for the first time?
Yeah, I really love that you're asking this question, because this is something that I was going through in my meditation this morning. We are really going through a global awakening. And one of the things that we're seeing is different parts of the world, people are learning and discovering new ways of dealing with this awakening. What does it mean to be awakened? It means to be hyper aware of the realities, the systems of our reality, and noticing where there's manipulation in our reality, and where there's compartmentalizations and false separation, which is created for us to be fragmented. And so when we live in a society that is constantly showing you separation, the awakening process can be very painful, because we have to move our mind, body, energy from separation back to unity. So I think one of the most powerful ways that we can handle this awakening process is by, just kind of intuitively knowing the questions that we're asking. We have to ask the right questions in our work, and the work is always questioning our programs that we have, the programs that are deeply, deeply embedded in us from the moment that we are gestating in our mother's womb to the moment that we come into the world, that we're born. We are running programs of separation. So I would say that in order to go through this awakening process in a more compassionate way, to think in terms of unity as opposed to separation. And this is with everything, our own internal shadows, the things that we judge within us, and the things that we're judging externally. As soon as you begin to train yourself to come into a more neutral state, more observer state, more unity consciousness state, it allows us to go through all of these ups and downs of the spiritual awakening process in a way that's more compassionate and better. Because a lot of things, it's not just the new people that are just waking up. Also, people that have woken up and have gone through cycles are reaching low points in their awakening, and they're having to kind of wake up again. So, this is a never-ending process. We're constantly going through cycles of death and rebirth throughout our entire life. We have to become friends with death. We have to become friends with these cycles of ups and downs, and that's kind of like getting to know the unknown through these processes consistently.
Very true. And it is about a process of not only learning your surroundings, but learning yourself internally as well, connecting to mind, body, and spirit. And, this leads to, normally I don't take questions until hour number 2, but since we're on topic right now, Andrew and Tia Spears, brand new to the chat room, welcome, are asking, how do you wake up? Like, what is that waking moment? Can someone do it without being kicked in the butt like you were, or I was, or many other people out there?
Not really. And the reason why is because the majority of us are in a state of hypnosis. We are truly hypnotized, not only by the things around us, including television, radio, music, but societal programs and the monotony of societal life and the way of leading life in a state of constant survival is a way to hypnotize mankind into moving away from the connection to the soul and the spirit into a more of an artificial, mechanical, constant state of being. And this constant state of being pulls people away from being able to access this non-physical aspect of ourselves, which is connected to a much greater reality beyond the physical. So in order to move away from that monotony, we need something to shake us up. We need something to wake us up. And this is true not only in the physics of awakening and the alchemy of awakening. We need to go through that fusion point, how diamonds are created through carbon. They're under pressure, they become these diamonds, So we are the same, and the alchemical process of consciousness and awakening also functions in that same way. We need to have some shaking and awakening process, a shock that will knock us out of that hypnosis into the ability to go into a state of questioning. We begin to question reality, we question ourselves, we question truth. This is the birth of awakening. And in that process, we have to kind of learn how to continue seeking that truth in a compassionate way in order to find. My advice is to always try to seek the highest truth of the collective, not just individual cases. Don't get stuck and don't get distracted in little, how should I call them, like little ideas or concepts, because we can very easily become fanatics in certain ideas, and again we're reliving these compartmentalized concepts. This is an issue that is occurring with religion, because religion tends to really create a very structured way of looking at things, and they give you all kinds of instructions on what to do, but a lot of them are putting you in cycles away from the true connection to the self. So this is majority of religions, I would say, are kind of managed in this way. So we want to, again, move away from that, because anything that is redundant and cyclical is going to put us back into a hypnosis. Eventually, we have to become friends with the unknown, like we just said, and that will be your best friend in the process of waking up.
Okay, so when someone wakes up and they finally get it, can they ever go back to the way things were? Or is it too late?
Yeah. You mean once they wake up, can they go back to sleep?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, here's the thing. You can go back to sleep anytime. But you will never undo the profound changing, because the process of waking up is a chemical, vibrational change in the body. Your entire structure of your body changes. When you go back to sleep, some of these things that you've activated in your body become dormant again. It doesn't mean, and what it'll feel like is like a memory of something that you used to know. Like, for example, let's say you rode a bike and you haven't ridden a bike in like 30 years and you forgot. If you get on that bike again, you will remember. You will have memories of riding the bike, and you will gently remember. Your body has the memory encoded in the muscle system, in the nervous system, in the multidimensional body. So you can pick it up again. So this spiritual process is very much similar in a way. Now, from the vibrational aspect of it, since this entire multiverse is in a constant state of evolution, in a sense, it's moving, it's constantly moving forward, moving in its movement. It doesn't necessarily have to be forward per se, but that means that nothing can ever go back to the old state energetically. So energetically, it's not going to go back to the old state, but you're going to feel like you're not there. We are always evolving in some way. We're always moving. So you can never really go back to an older state, but you can go back to sleep.
Okay, so when those programs go, a great example, by the way, of the bicycle. I haven't ridden a bicycle in like 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay, and I was thinking about taking up cycling again because we have some real nice areas to ride around here. And I have been worried, like, am I going to remember? But then I remember, okay, well, there was a time I didn't ice skate for like 5 years. And all of a sudden, I step back out on the ice and, there's the legs. There, I got it. I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to fall. Okay, because your brain does remember it just at the snap of a finger, So for those who are looking for that sign, but they maybe haven't found it, like Andrew and Tia, okay, they're waiting for it. They're looking for it. How do they know that maybe it hasn't happened yet? And they've just missed it.
Yeah, and that's a really great question. I guess what we want to do is define what does it mean to be woken, awake, in other words. And I think what we need to kind of remember is that being awake we're talking about being conscious, being awake.
Going on vacation is the best, but planning a vacation? That you can certainly do without. So book a trip with Apple Vacations to Breathless Resorts and Spas. Whether you're looking for an all-inclusive couples retreat to the Caribbean or a family vacation, you can count on us to find a trip you and your family will love. Apple Vacations has over 50 years of providing stress-free vacations so you can relax and make memories. Visit applevacations.com to plan your perfect vacation today. That's applevacations.com.
Depression hurts. Finding medication for it shouldn't. The GeneSight test uses your DNA to analyze how you may break down or respond to antidepressants using a simple cheek swab. The GeneSight test report can be used by your doctor to inform your treatment plan and may improve your chances of feeling like yourself again. You are not alone. Join over 1.5 million people who have taken the GeneSight test and get back on the road to recovery. Visit GeneSight.com for more information.
Aware. And in awareness, it's a constant state of observation. This is really the key. If you can bring yourself into a constant state of non-judgmental observation in the present moment, you're awake, And if this now becomes your every second of your day, you literally are living a life that is very aware, and now there's a congruency between your actions, your thoughts, the things that you're saying, things that you're doing. It's that simple. It's that simple, and it's also that challenging, right? Because it's challenging for us to be present at all times because of the trauma that we've experienced. Our nervous system is used to doing the fight or flight thing, right? We don't want to be in the present moment. Most of us aren't even in our physical bodies. We're usually hovering above the bodies. So it isn't until we come into the body, feel all of the uncomfortable and discomfort emotions that might be coming up in that present moment, and training our nervous system to calm down and to feel okay with being highly, highly sensitive, those of you that are empaths, highly aware of the things that are happening. And on the other side of that, we are becoming familiar with truth. Because one of the things that happens when we experience profound trauma, seeing things that occurred that caused us trauma, sometimes we block it out. So we need to train the body to feel safe again in unknown situations or traumatic or situations that might be perceived as dangerous or uncomfortable. So these are a couple things, that what does it mean to be awake? If we can help our nervous system, our emotional system come to a state of neutrality and observation, master those emotions in the present moment, this is basically what it means to be awake. And if you simply stick to that, your entire life will change. And all of these things that we talk about, the multidimensional body, energy, all of that will come automatically because you will be able to observe those things because of your presence. It exists around us at all times. It's just our awareness. That's all that's missing.
Geraldine, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because I think we found our topic for the night. Geraldine and I never plan anything. Yeah. We just kind of go with what the audience is going, and that's how we figure out what kind of show we're going to do tonight. So, awakening ourselves. How do we know when it happens? What are we looking for? How do we get there? Hey, it's more than just keeping your eyes open and looking for an answer. It will come to you when you are most ready. We will continue the conversation with Geraldine Orozco on the Spiritual You. GeraldineOrozco.com is her website, so make sure you check it on out. And if you're not watching this on YouTube, you are missing out on Geraldine's fantastic hair tonight. Holy cow. Great hairdo. Spaced Out Radio with Geraldine Orozco continues right after this. All right, we're clear.
Nice.
Sweet.
Awesome. So how are you? How was Vegas? I mean, the pictures were amazing and the videos. I love that you guys actually did some kind of almost like a mini conference, didn't you?
We did a live show for about 3.5 hours, and we made the very cool mistake of having Lorian Fenton, Melinda Leslie, and Misha Johnson take up the last half hour, and more like 45 minutes, more like 50 minutes, more like 60 minutes, because when those three get going, you cannot stop them. You just can't.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's fun.
So it was an absolute blast. Our listeners had a great time. I think we hit a home run. I really do think that we hit a home run. We may not have won the game as of yet, but I think it really put us on the scoreboard. And we're looking at doing it again next year. And, don't be surprised if there's an invite for you there. And
I hope so. Yes, I'll definitely be there.
Which reminds me, do you still have a copy of my regression?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
I couldn't open it.
Really? It's just a link you just have to download?
I know.
I'll send it to you again.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so strange. I will send it to you again. I think I put it on, what's the name of that website for downloads?
I think you sent it via WeTransfer.
WeTransfer, that's right.
Yeah.
And you couldn't get it from there?
No, I screwed up. I was nervous.
Oh, really? Okay.
I was nervous, and I forgot to download it because I wasn't ready to hear it yet. When I was ready to hear it, it was already gone.
Oh, got it. No worries. I will send you another one. Yeah.
Yes.
No problem. Oh, thank you. Really, Opatra. Wow, beautiful name.
Mm-hmm. But no, otherwise we had a great time.
Nice.
We had a great time with our fans. We had about 60 people there. And
wow, that's so awesome.
It turned out really, really well.
Oh my gosh.
It turned out really well.
And people from all over the States, huh?
Yeah. Myself and Dirty Filth were the only Canadians there.
Wow, that's so amazing. I love it.
Niall Parkinson, welcome to SOR Chat, all the way from Ireland. I am in Canada, on the west coast of Canada, and Geraldine is in California. So we are hanging on out, and we do this show 5 days a week. For me, 7 days a week in total. Geraldine joins us once a month, and her hair is always immaculate. And, yes, I hope you're enjoying yourself tonight.
Yeah, thank you for joining us.
Dave did not attend any Vegas buffets, Michael Boyle. They said that when I tried to get in one, but they said you'd already cleared it out. They said some guy in a piano key tie was here and he cleared out all the food. Like, damn you, Mike. Got there before me.
Oh, my God.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys still have snow up there in Canada, or are you guys ready for summer?
The snow is melted, and I can officially, except one road that I can't get to my Sasquatch area yet.
Oh,
all right.
Bummer.
The other one I can. The other one I can. The one I cannot.
Yeah.
But I'm almost there. You know, I'm almost there.
Yes.
Thank you, Lazarus. I appreciate that. Big thank you to Steve tonight for kicking off the Super Chat. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis, so thank you so much. And don't forget to do a little shopping at the SOR store on our website. We got some killer swag on there for you. We're going to get going here with Geraldine momentarily with the second half hour. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America. And I want to remind you that all of our archives are free by joining us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's News Wire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We are here with our own living legend, the Geraldine Orozco Show. We call it the Spiritual You, where Geraldine joins us once a month to talk about what we can do about our own spirituality. How do we make ourselves better? And we sprinkle in some aliens every now and again. Geraldine's website, GeraldineOrozco.com. And we are continuing on with the topic about how to awaken ourselves. Geraldine, welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So happy to be here.
I am glad you are here as well. And I want to ask you, in regards to opening up, does it have to be a UFO experience? Can it be a paranormal experience, a near-death experience, an out-of-body experience that launches it?
No, not at all. In fact, the majority of people do experience some kind of phenomena in their early ages, usually as children. You know, children are incredibly intuitive. They're already very much seeing things, and it isn't until the parent or something says, you're not really seeing something, that we begin to close off our intuitive aspect of ourselves and that vision that we have into the non-physical. And so depending on how much of that you've had as an individual, by the time you get to your adult age and you're learning or trying to train your intuition, We need to practice. This needs to be a practice. Now, the connection between phenomena and ET contact is your vibrational frequency. It really depends at what frequency you're at that will match you with the kind of contact that you're going to have. The higher the frequency you have, usually the more pleasant, the more conscious the experience is, and the more, I guess, interdimensional, you could say. When we have a very low frequency, but we're incredibly empathic, we tend to pick up a lot on ghosts and all kinds of other kinds of phenomena that can be, in heavy areas. We have to be able really to see all ranges. We have to see from low vibrational frequency entities and beings to the highest level of beings. So I think that when it comes to awakening, I guess the connection between that intuitive gift to see and awakening, it's not so much about having an event that triggers that awakening. I think really emotional trauma is the thing that causes the greatest amount of shift for someone, an opportunity to shift where they begin to question reality. And as a result of questioning that reality, they then begin to see beyond the veil. And that's where the intuition and the third eye open up, and they have the access to looking at things beyond the veil. So, it's hand in hand, but I don't necessarily think you need an event to wake up.
Okay. So if you don't need that event, how do we find it within us to know what that signal is? A lot of us are very blind to our own spiritual concepts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting concept, I think. And really, the thing is that spiritual awakening is a process for the courageous soul, because we have to walk the path that's less taken. It's an unknown path. Those of us that have taken the time to go deep into our shadows, deprogram, work, heal, reintegrate, ask these difficult questions about what is true, are the ones that are the way showers in our time and have always been, in history. People that have gone outside of the little line of the box are the ones that are able to discover, find truth, pull society forward. And I think that the more of us that are waking up now, there is no one way to wake up. There is no instruction manual so much. We can give guidelines and we can give support based on what we know as we have experienced our awakening. But awakening is something that's a very personal journey, because we have our own specific traumas that we must get to the root of in order to understand what are these cyclical patterns that we keep living through. And then through that emotion, we learn about frequency. We learn that emotional control, emotional mastery becomes like a radio signal that fine-tunes us into a resonance that allows us to experience every next potential experience. So it really is a shift in a way of living. It's a completely new way of looking at your life, yourself, and the things that you're capable of achieving. It's an observation, and it's a marriage between mind, body, soul. Those things have to be integrated.
Okay. Do we have to get in touch with our higher self, our spirit guides, those who are guiding us in order to find the right path that we are supposed to be on?
Yeah, so this is a great question. I think that people, usually what I find is, depending on your religious background, usually that will play a certain influence in the way that you see deities, let's say God-like beings, or external powers outside of you. And I really do believe that this is also a program, that once you understand that you create everything, it breaks, this program changes, and now the tables are turning where you are the one in control of who you're in contact with. But until most people reach that point, a lot of times we tend to externalize our spirituality, our powers, our abilities, even our awareness. We tend to externalize it and put the responsibility on a higher power, something outside of us that's more intelligent, whether it's ETs or gods or angelic beings. And I find that this is it's untrue, number one, and it can be a very disempowering thing for the human. I highly suggest that when you work with guides, that you understand first and foremost that we are one with everything, all dimensional layers, from the root of this earth to the highest 13th, 25th, whatever infinite number of dimensions until source. We are one with all of them. They are us, we are them. It's fractals of self-similar patterns of consciousness and experience. And through that understanding, when we see an angelic being appear when we're in a time of distress, we understand it's a fragment of our own self that has come into our timeline in order to awaken, shift, activate a potential opportunity of transformation. And so now we have created a very empowering tool that we can now call upon our future selves, because again, time is non-linear, it's all simultaneous. So we're tuning into a fragment of ourselves that's on another dimensional plane and utilizing the tools, the wisdom that this fragment has and bringing it into the present moment. Now, an element of this concept that I bring to the table that's different is the genetic aspect of it. All of this is encoded in our genetic code. It's in our genetic hologram. And we are tuning in as we wake up, activating DNA to these aspects of ourselves that are in dimension. They're fully present at all times in other dimensions, that as we raise our vibrational frequency, we have access to. I also think that there's another specific timeline. There's a progression in a human's life that I notice, that when people go through traumatic experiences that force them to move out of that comfort zone, there is a fusion spark of life force that is created in the human that helps them jump into another timeline. They have access to that timeline, which means that they can pull from that future timeline help, like angelic beings. And there are key moments in a person's life where they will have these available to them. And usually it's in moments where people go through major life transitions. Let's say you got into a terrible car accident, and then an angelic being comes, helps you, heals you. You begin to wake up. You begin to have these very strong, where the veil is very thin, and you understand. You begin to question these things. So all of these things play a role in that.
No, and I can see that they all play a role. How does it affect one with their own karmic value and their own path that they are supposed to take? Do they know when they are supposed to wake up? Is that something that is already written in some sort of karmic scripture that we don't know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question, because now we're talking about cause and effect, and cause and effect is what we're here to experience in the three-dimensional plane in which we are in. In the three-dimensional plane, we are experiencing infinitely fractal design, self-similar patterns of the integration of the feminine and masculine, and the third, which is creation. The creation aspect of the experience in the three-dimensional plane means that everything that we do has an effect. So when we fight with someone, it has an effect. When we love someone, it has an effect. Every action that we take. And so when we talk about karma, most of us are pretty much, we have no free will, because we are repeating patterns which we have learned and have been indoctrinated and taken on from not only our parents, but our ancestors, right? And it isn't until one of the souls, and there's always in family lineages, souls that wake up in those lineages to have the opportunity to shift the cyclical patterns that are occurring. Right now in the collective, the majority of the people that we're sharing life here on this earth at this time are experiencing a collective awakening, which allows them a very unique opportunity to change the genetic cyclical patterns that we have been living through for centuries. Not that this is something terribly unique, but we are at a very key point in the cyclical pattern of evolution of this experience.
Going on vacation is the best, but planning a vacation, that you can certainly do without. So book a trip with Apple Vacations to Breathless Resorts and Spas. Whether you're looking for an all-inclusive couples retreat to the Caribbean or a family vacation, you can count on us to find a trip you and your family will love. Apple Vacations has over 50 years of providing stress-free vacations so you can relax and make memories. Visit applevacations.com to plan your perfect vacation today. That's applevacations.com.
Depression hurts. Finding medication for it shouldn't. The GeneSight test uses your DNA to analyze how you may break down or respond to antidepressants using a simple cheek swab. The GeneSight test report can be used by your doctor to inform your treatment plan and may improve your chances of feeling like yourself again. You are not alone. Join over 1.5 million people who have taken the GeneSight test and get back on the road to recovery. Visit GeneSight.com for more information.
As a whole. And so we can then break karmic cyclical contracts, break karmic patterns that allow us that when we heal ourselves, we also heal our ancestors, our families, and essentially we're raising the collective consciousness through our work because again, we're connected as one. So it's a really powerful thing to understand cause and effect and karma. Because we don't want to be in effect anymore. Being in effect means that we're allowing things to happen to us. We are at the lowest state of the creation. To be at cause means that you are now a creator. It's almost as if you've elevated yourself to a state of a God level in which you're aware that you are a creator and that you can utilize that wisely for the benefit of the collective. And there are different levels of this ethically and morally in this spiritual ascension and laws of creation. But once we understand the give and take and the exchange with one another on earth, our experience can change dramatically. And we begin to really experience the magic of life. In other words, all of these superpowers, intuition, bilocation, remote viewing, all of these gifts that are available to the human, every single one, every human has this power, can begin to change their life into something really, really powerful, like the movies. You know, you see these things in movies, those are all real, and we can all achieve those things with cultivation of the mind.
Okay, where does free will come into play?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question, because then free will only occurs to the person that is aware in the present moment and observing this present moment, and again, being at cause. When you are at cause, that means that you are consciously taking actions. You're consciously speaking, thinking, feeling, sensing, and in other words, you are now a generator of things in your environment, as opposed to being a victim and somebody that is helpless and lost and disconnected. You are now a channel of that life force through your body, and that really manifests into any potential thing that you want to experience. So that's when free will plays a role. Now, I also want to take this to the next level. I know that we have a pretty advanced audience, but the next level of that is in a bigger picture, you know, do you really have free will? And this is when we start talking about ET contact, for example, getting into the hybridization, for example, because we question, hey, when did I make the agreement to participate in the hybridization program? And a lot of times these agreements are made in fragments, simultaneous existing fragments of ourselves at a lower consciousness that choose to experience hybridization with breeding, with entities and with races of a lower frequency. We also do it with a higher frequency, but the element of free will is essential here. It isn't until we become conscious of our contact experience and what we're doing in dream time and in astral plane that we can actually affect on a much more powerful level this next level of free will. And that only happens when we wake up in the waking time, dream time, the astral layers, and then all the way up into our infinite dimensional levels. We right now have 13 dimensional layers to our body, chakras, that we have access to, that we can activate and navigate. And we need to become conscious in all of them, because we are shifting as a collective into the 21 chakra model right now. And we're over the next, century, we're shifting into this new model of human, where things are non-physical, we are interdimensional. This is why ET contact, we're coming into this. We're going to go in real deep into that in the next 10 years, because our bodies are activating at this level, at this rate. And so we are catching up to that technology. So free will, really, if you look at the bigger picture, you are a tiny little speck in this multiverse that is participating, that is specifically designed to carry out something specific as a part of an organism function. You think about that. So what that means is that the sooner you come into your mission, let's say mission, or the thing that you are best at, that brings you the highest bliss, joy, expansion, unconditional love, that is exactly what you were designed to do by the entire organism, the intelligence of the organism, because it's what brings the collective organism the highest health, vitality, longevity, and evolution. So this is really important. It's important to remember that as a purpose.
Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You continue on Spaced Out Radio, as we got about 5 minutes to go before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. With free will, with the fact that we have the ability to change and do what we want to do with ourselves, are there certain things we can control, Geraldine? Let's say we didn't want to experience extraterrestrial contact, or we didn't want to experience out-of-body experiences where the silver astral cord stretches out forever and you always fear you're never going to get back in your body. Do we have that ability to choose?
These choices are made in different ways. We talked about programming. So we also need to look at our religion upbringing and the very, very profound programming that is a result of religion, which is a lot of times based in the manipulation of lower emotions like fear, guilt, and shame. We need to take a look at those, because a lot of those are deeply embedded in the nervous system, to the point where when it comes to having these kinds of experiences out of body, where we need to experience the unknown, it becomes almost impossible to do that. So we first need to address these programs and check in with them. Are they true? Are they real? And a lot of times you'll find the answer is no. Now, what do you do with that? So once you understand that the answer is no, what is true? What does it mean to be a multidimensional human? We need to become very comfortable as quick as possible with the fact that we are multidimensional. The physical body is only a fractal of an infinite you, which is many fragments of yourself on other dimensional planes, which are physical. Maybe you were King Richard, in one life. Maybe you were Cleopatra. Maybe you were an Arcturian. All of those things are available. They're part of the archetypes that you've experienced. In this lifetime, you're going to have access to a lot of those, which you can pull data from to assist you in making the choices that you're making in this lifetime. And a lot of these choices, like ET contact, for example, depends on what is being expressed from your genetic code. In our holographic DNA, we hold all of these simultaneous aspects of ourselves. And the more we wake up, the more we activate, and collectively, as we are evolving as a human race, they become awakened, which means that we become aware of them, and we have access to those datas. So let's say, for example, in my case, I never thought about aliens to the level of really profound understanding until 2013, where I had that abduction experience in the conscious flesh, because I had already integrated my non-physical with my physical. My vibrational frequency was at a point where it could move into these dimensional planes. and remember fully what happened. So that choice to experience that was already done before I was even born. I already decided that in this lifetime, I would have a moment where I would have one life, it would end, this physical life, and then have another life where I was to be of service and to do this spiritual work. So when we think about free will, we're already kind of predestined in some way to experience certain cycles of awakening. Nothing is set in stone, because you can choose to take that road, or I could have chosen to just stay quiet and not talk about my contact experience, for example. So everything depends on how much we are willing to deprogram limiting belief systems, fears, all of those things. The sooner we can, or if we choose to break those, we can go quite far. And all of the fears into the unknown, like astral projection, like ET contact, they begin to dissolve, because you understand quickly that you're not the physical body. We are way more than that. And our job is experience. This is really what all living organisms in this multiverse are here to do. Simply experience. And the organism learns through us as an experience. That's all it is. If you can remember that, it'll make it much easier.
Geraldine Orozco is our chat specialist when it comes to everything to do with our spirituality and getting to know each other. We always take questions in hour number 2, and we're going to continue with that, Geraldine, as we got about 45 seconds left. Quickly here, before we go to break, this is positive for people. A lot of these spiritual awakenings are not of a negative aspect, correct?
No, I can't say 100%, because sometimes these spiritual awakenings can occur in a very abrupt way, where people experience severe trauma in interdimensional contact, or any kind of thing that breaks the veil wide open for them. And remember that this is an agreement that they have made in their life to experience, but the thing is that it can really catch people off guard, and it can really shake up their reality, their understanding of reality. So in that moment, people can either go crazy, or they can go drink or do drugs, and a lot of people do. They choose to do drugs in order to cope with the massive amount of sensitivity that they have.
We will get back to more Geraldine Orozco on the Spiritual You here on Spaced Out Radio, her website, GeraldineOrozco.com. When we return, audience questions if you're in our chat room, and all about spiritual awakening tonight on the mighty SOR. Stay tuned. All right, we're clear. Yeah, I'm going to take I'm going to take a break. There you go. I'll just be I'll be right back, guys. All right. Old Davy's back. There we go. Hello, Gordium and Bobbert and Phil Minervino. What's happening? Jason Pearl, good to see you. Cherry Pepsi Mike. How much of Grandpa's cough medicine have you put in the Cherry Pepsi tonight? Christoph, what's happening, buddy? Thanks, Grant T. Mercury. It's too warm for the Marvin the Martian hat. Do I even have it up here? Oh, there it is. Oh. All right, hold on. It has been a while. There we go. Just for you. Just for you. There's my lovely lady. How are you?
I'm great. I love this hat too. This is my favorite.
You know I have a Marvin the Martian tattoo, right?
No, where do you have that?
It's on my leg.
That's so cute. I love it.
Yes.
I was thinking to rewatch that cartoon just to see, like, you know, who wrote that? Like, what were they saying?
It was brilliant. Just brilliant.
Really?
We have 10 seconds, so I'm going to get you to hold on here, my dear.
All right. Okay.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Odyssey Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Sabulous. Sabulous is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on with Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You. Geraldine joins us once a month to talk about everything Zen, Chi, and to align our chakras from all the aliens that come down and try to mess with us. Geraldine's website, GeraldineOrozco.com. Welcome back, Geraldine.
Hi. Thank you.
How much does meditation help open up any type of visualization or experiences with self-awakening?
So basically, without meditation, you will not get anywhere. In other words, it's absolutely essential. It is at the core foundation of awareness and shifting the awareness. Why? Because everything in our life, in our everyday life, is constantly designed to stimulate us. Whether it's food, whether it's music, whether it's stress, whether it's survival, whatever it is that's happening externally to us is meant to trigger sensations, emotions, and emote us into doing things. And so in order to cut that activity and redirect the attention, because all of those activities are quite depleting, and because we don't understand the energy, it isn't until we cut those behaviors and redirect that energy inward that we can actually begin to cultivate the mastery over our intuitive gifts. Without the mastery of our emotions, we simply will not have intuitive gifts, because our emotions are incredibly powerful. I mean, the human doesn't understand how powerful emotions are in affecting our reality. Every emotion that you have creates a ripple effect into the field of creation. Literally, if you have a single little drop of doubt in your mind and you're trying to achieve something, that tiny little doubt will interfere.
Going on vacation is the best, but planning a vacation, that you can certainly do without. So book a trip with Apple Vacations to Breathless Resorts and Spas. Whether you're looking for an all-inclusive couples retreat to the Caribbean or a family vacation, you can count on us to find a trip you and your family will love. Apple Vacations has over 50 years of providing stress-free vacations, so you can relax and make memories. Visit applevacations.com to plan your perfect vacation today. That's applevacations.com.
Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital, a partner of Memorial Hospital of Gulfport, is growing and seeking RNs. Work in a state-of-the-art setting with advanced technologies offering sign-on bonuses and benefits that start day one. To apply, visit encompasshealth.com/careers. Encompass Health is an equal opportunity employer.
Fear, and it will influence what you're experiencing and how you're experiencing it. Can you imagine that? So think about all of the other many subconscious minds that a very busy mind, a monkey mind, has, constantly shooting out mixed messages left and right at all times in your creative process. So in order to end this convoluted and mixed up way of creation is to silence the mind. Learn how to have some discipline, quiet the mind, help relax the nervous system, and begin to train ourselves into actually feeling the emotions that we keep deflecting. Because a lot of these habits actually cause us to run away from feeling things. We're very good at getting stimulated and enjoying sensations and all the five senses, but really feeling the emotions, most people haven't done that. So that's actually the key to intuition. Feeling emotions in its entirety until you understand that it's so temporary and filled with information for you that can help you. This information is multisensory, it's multidimensional. It's information that's packed with past information and potential future information. That's how powerful working with your intuition is. In every single emotion that you feel in your body, you can actually tap into the past and into the future and into the now, because all of these ideas are being triggered by emotions. So meditation is essential, and meditation is necessary in order to do that kind of emotional discipline.
All right, let's move on to our first question tonight from our audience. This one comes from Vaughn in Edmonton, Alberta, who is asking, Geraldine, what was your experience in the other dimensions that you have entered?
Yeah, so I'm a lifelong contactee. So since the age of 5, I've had contact experiences where I was taken out of my room, but and then later on, I went through the hybridization program at the age of 16, where I became impregnated and then had a miscarriage, but I was a virgin. And then later on, at the age of 21, 25, 28, again, becoming pregnant, not being partnered, and then having that gestation process, and then having a miscarriage. And every single one of these unique experiences caused some kind of physical reaction, okay, that was incredibly memorable. So that's number one. Now, that prefaces my actual contact experience in 2013, in which I was taken out of my bedroom window in the physical consciously on board a craft with 6 grays that introduced me to information about the Pleiades, an alien language, and downloads about information about many things, as well as an introduction to my hybrid children. And it wasn't until I met the hybrid children that I began to really understand that the currency of the universe, not only is it us, but it's our genetic data. Our genetic data as a mode of infinite information, a data bank of infinite potential of creation, is somehow being utilized by these lower realms in a 3-dimensional matrix. So these are my experiences. And as a result of these experiences that really made me to depart from my old career as an event planner into this field completely, because I realized that I was not the only woman experiencing this, or man also experienced this. And, why aren't we talking about this? Like, how is it that we have a reproductive program, which we don't even remember consciously until something like this happens? And keep in mind that in order to reach the level of having that kind of a conscious experience, I had been meditating up to 9 hours a day for a prolonged amount of time in order to be at that level where I could consciously remember what was happening to me. Not everyone that has contact goes through the meditation process, but it's a major catalyst, and it opens up the veil to an entire reality that there's nothing in our reality that will make us prepared or privy to that kind of a reality. And that's the next step in our understanding of what and who we are in this universe.
So who are you outside of Geraldine Orozco?
I'm nothing. I'm not even Geraldine Orozco. That's the thing. That's the thing, that when you start asking these questions, you realize that we don't even have a personality. The personality is a construct. We create constructs all the time. We're wearing masks. We have this identity. Geraldine that is right now, she does her hair, gets dressed, whatever. All of this is just a construct. What is really operating in the back end of this is a consciousness. It's a life force that moves through us. And that has no form. It has no definition. It is a vibrational essence that manifests into the physical, into the material, through actions, thoughts, and many other mechanisms that participate in that creation of this hologram. Essentially, we are just holograms. And all of us are like this. In fact, we have many fragments of ourselves that we have access to, that we can, past lives that we can reintegrate. All of these things are important, because what we think our life is right now, we think that it's just a matter of fact, and that's just the way it is. Most of us are playing out patterns and cycles that our parents have gone through. If they weren't successful in their lifetime, we don't think we have to be successful in this lifetime. So we keep following those patterns, for example. All of those things are constructs that we create, and they can be destroyed just as easily by changing the way that we think. So this idea, this identity, it's nothing. It can be changed at any time.
Okay. If it can be changed at any time, how do we fail to gain control of changing it?
See, the thing, and then the dichotomy of this is that in the pursuit of control or change, because change means, that in a sense we think that we're in control when that happens. But really, when you surrender completely, that's actually when you can affect these patterns. And again, it's a matter of working with your entire body, nervous system, thoughts, programs, traumas, and bringing each one of those things into a neutral point, to the point where you're not triggered by something anymore. When you are not triggered by things anymore, and you're in a state of neutrality, you're not fighting your experiences. You're just experiencing and flowing. You're going with the flow. We hear that terminology a lot, but what that really means is that in a sense you've surrendered to the point where you are open to anything non-judgmentally. So if something horrible happens, you don't name it horrible. You just say, okay, this is the cause and effect. What do I need to learn? What do I take away from this? How do we move forward? And just continue going without involving your emotions to the extent that are detrimental to you. And so this is essential in learning how to be the new human that is no longer a slave to external circumstances and emotions.
Sounds good. Sounds good. All right. Let's get to, I'm just seeing if there's an audience question here. Christine is saying, Eben said that he or they had an eternal soul. Do extraterrestrials or all of us have eternal souls?
That's a fantastic question and a very complex one. I guess when we think of the word eternal, that word is it's usually derived and has roots in religious background. But we're talking about infinity, something that never ends, something that goes. And so in order to apply the concept of infinity to ourselves, we need to see ourselves as energy, because the only thing that is infinite in this universe is energy, because of the way that it functions physically by its laws. Energy never can be destroyed because it isn't a tangible thing. It is something that can transfer itself from one form to another infinitely, like water, but this is even more so. Can transmute itself into any dimensional complex. So this energy that we are, which is all that we are, can move from this little vessel of Geraldine, Dave, into something else based on the awareness and the frequency of this intention. So do all things have souls? I do believe that we need to define soul as the way I define it, as life force. It is the life force, which is a fractal of source, which is infinite life force. So if we are fractals of that, including these beings which have some level of that soul, of that life force, it's up to the organism how they choose to work with the life force that they have available to them. People that reject themselves, that hate themselves, or that are constant fear, all of these things are manifestations of self-hate. They become parasitic, which means that they don't see themselves as infinite life force. So they need to get from something external in order to survive, to keep alive. And so negative beings, entities, ET beings that are darker and parasitic are living their expression as a parasite, essentially. Their life force becomes very, very little. So their soul becomes very, very little, in other words, their life force. And all they can do is to continue to perpetuate suffering, because that's what feeds them. That's their thinking. They think that's what feeds them. We humans operate in the same way. When a human is angry at themselves, whatever, has all this self-hate or doesn't love themselves, eventually they get sick. A lot of us, we get cancers, illnesses, all kinds of things. The body begins to deteriorate and eventually dies. And so we work in that same manner. So do all living organisms in this universe. We are either expanding or contracting, living or dying. This is the laws of this three-dimensional plane where we're experiencing these cycles of creation and destruction. So I hope that answers that question.
I think it does. Let's move on to a new question here. JG is asking, how does a woman feel with having hybrid children and not spending time with them?
So the moment that I met the children was because I don't have children in this lifetime, the incredible potent feeling of maternal instinct overcame me. And I understood what it meant to be a mother, because I was willing to give up whatever idea of life I had and to live on that craft. And even, my family wouldn't know me, wouldn't see me anymore. They would know me, they just wouldn't see me anymore, because I was thinking, I would give up everything to be there with them. And at the moment of having that thought, it was very confusing, because I didn't understand what my role was going to be now that they introduced me to the children. However, the children did know. They looked at me very neutral, very calm. As a matter of fact, they could see right through me, all my emotions. They can even read and see my thoughts and telepathically communicate with me. And that allowed me to understand that they knew that this was just a temporary meeting. And the purpose of that meeting is an imprint, a vibrational imprint into the energetic bodies of these children, that the moment that I ignite that maternal instinct, it creates an acknowledgement of existence to these beings. And that simple acknowledgement creates a regeneration of their genetic structure to the point where they have a longevity and a higher chance, genetically and physically, to live longer. We humans and all living organisms on our planet function the exact same way. There was a test done with little mice that when these little mice were raised next to the mother, nurtured, taken care of, the little mice grew healthy, vibrant, without any problem. The little mice that were taken away and separated from the mother at an early age would die. They would die. They would get sick and die. They would have problems, complications, something would happen. And this is true with children in our world as well. So we need to really understand that, because this same law occurs with these organisms. They're just living organisms. It is the awareness of every cell and the understanding that it is meant to exist. This is why we can somewhat generalize some of these laws of exchange, because we see these patterns, And that being said, because of the way that this functions, I knew that my job was done with those beings in that moment. That having that love exchange with them in that moment was enough to allow them to sustain and carry out what they were created for. Keep in mind that there are many different hybridization programs, and that not all of them are meant to be that vibration. Some of them are very low vibration. Some of them, the children are made for destruction, because children have a very potent energetic field. And when you destroy that, we're dealing with, what is it called? Endomicrome? Dave, help me out with that word.
Adrenochrome?
I forget. Adrenochrome, thank you. Adrenochrome is created, which is a substance that it's a very, very low vibrational substance created from fear. And this adrenochrome is the chemical reaction of fragmentation that occurs. And this happens to all humans when they go through trauma of any kind. So there's different programs, keep in mind, and it just depends on your role. So I live in peace knowing that they are carried out doing exactly what they need to do. There's another element to this that's a little more profound, which has to do with because in a sense, we agreed to create some of these hybrid children's programs in a moment when we were less conscious. There is a karmic aspect to having these children, and we are entangled with them. So we need to call back our life force from these uneven exchanges and entanglement of energy in order for us to become whole. Eventually, we want to retrieve all of our unconscious life force from all the different organisms that we have, let's say, bled out energetically into. in order to transcend. So this is also another important element.
I love it. Love it. Let's get to Vaughn's question, as we got about a minute to go here. Geraldine, is love and loving plus the shedding of ego key to moving on in frequency?
Key to moving on in frequency. Well, let's say it's one way to move in frequency. We essentially have to learn and become and embody and experience all frequencies. Love, and again, we're going to assume that the love that we're discussing here is unconditional love. Unconditional love is not just an emotion. It is a state of existence. It's a vibrational frequency which shifts the human from becoming, let's say, an organism that is separate from the whole organism into an organism that becomes the greater organism.
Beautiful.
That's the difference, And
on that note, Geraldine, I'm going to get you to hold on if you want to continue with that answer when we return. That works as well. We have Geraldine Orozco for another segment here on Spaced Out Radio with The Spiritual You. Geraldine comes in near the beginning of each month talking about all things to do with our Zen, our Chi, aligning our chakras, and even a little alien sprinkled in between. Her website, GeraldineOrozco.com. We'll be back with more Geraldine Orozco when we return on Spaced Out Radio. I went over. That's a rarity.
Nice.
Hi, Zenzabil. Hi, TMI. And who else has showed up here? Because I'm behind in the chat room by a few minutes here. Human Carl's here, everyone. Human Carl has arrived. We love Human
Carl. Yeah.
Yes. Liliopatra, thank you so much for that amazing super chat. Very much appreciate your love. I will post it here in a little bit, along with Phil, Thomas, and Steve for the super chats tonight. Very much appreciate it. Where else are we here? Very much appreciate it. Oh, that was me.
That was you, yes.
That was me. Oh, you're on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up there, Geraldine. Don't forget.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I came here for.
Oh,
exactly.
I can't wait to hang out with you again, sister. I cannot wait.
I know.
Last time was just not enough.
I know. Soon again. Are you going anywhere? Do you have any plans?
My next conference will be in Denver, Colorado, at the MUFON Symposium, July 8th to 10th.
Nice. Awesome! That's so great.
Yeah, and you can come join us if you want.
Oh, that'll be fun. I'm not sure where I'll be in that month, but yeah, that would be really fun.
Very cool.
Colorado, huh? Denver, Colorado.
Denver.
I'm going to Colorado in August, I think. August.
I will be home in August. Okay. I will be at home.
Going on vacation is the best, but planning a vacation, that you can certainly do without. So book a trip with Apple Vacations to Breathless Resorts and Spas. Whether you're looking for an all-inclusive couples retreat to the Caribbean or a family vacation, you can count on us to find a trip you and your family will love. Apple Vacations has over 50 years of providing stress-free vacations, so you can relax and make memories. Visit applevacations.com to plan your perfect vacation today. That's applevacations.com.
Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital, a partner of Memorial Hospital of Gulfport, is growing and seeking RNs. Work in a state-of-the-art setting with advanced technologies offering sign-on bonuses and benefits that start day one. To apply, visit encompasshealth.com/careers. Encompass Health is an equal opportunity employer.
Home in August, finding my Zen and Chi. Actually, Science Bob McGuire is coming up here in August, and we're going to go camping with Samantha Mowat and go find some aliens.
Cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Very much. Yeah. Gorgeous Candy Romero, thank you for that awesome super chat.
Oh, thank you, Candy.
Lovely people.
Can't wait to meet you too.
Lovely people, Candy and her husband. I believe his name is Fernando. Is it Fernando?
Wow.
I apologize.
Memory.
Gorgeous couple, though. You know, you get those good-looking couples, and you're like, damn. You know?
Yeah.
That's that couple. Very nice people. They live in Las Vegas.
Nice.
Yeah. So they came out to our party and hung out.
Oh, that's so great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
actually
you
in
guys.
shorts? You never
I
wear,
am.
You never wear shorts. My God, what is this
I
world
know.
coming?
It's only summer. It's summer now.
What is this world coming to?
The heater is resting. I'm giving it a couple of months off.
Oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. I've never seen Geraldine Orozco in shorts. I'm blown away right now. Blown away. Do you want to continue with the answer here, or do you want to move on?
I think we ended that.
Okay.
I think we can move on. Yeah.
All right. I will see if we have any others here. I wasn't sure. No, we haven't done my chesses yet. That's where we're starting. Sorry. That's where we're starting.
Okay.
We got about a minute and a half.
Awesome.
That's a good question right there. I'll save it right there. Yeah, next year we're going to expand our Vegas show.
Yeah, you should. It was so wonderfully successful. My gosh, that's a great idea.
Yeah, we're going to start talking with the Golden Nugget again, and then we are going to do a one-day conference, but we're going to make it very, very cool and very different. And we're only going to have, I believe, 5 speakers, including a keynote. We're in between. We'll do a live radio show there. And then we'll have some nighttime entertainment. I don't know who's going to be that yet, but guaranteed there will be nighttime entertainment. And then once that's done, we're all just going to go get rip-roaring hammered and find our Zen and Chi on the Fremont Street. You know, I know you won't, but hold on. Here we go. 5 seconds.
All right.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to say that, you know what, you can find all of our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. For the final time tonight, Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You. We are getting things done here with our good friend Geraldine, whose Bay Area meditation in San Francisco, California, has us all locked up with our Zen, our Chi, and our ET contact. You can find her at GeraldineOrozco.com. And Geraldine, we're going to start with audience questions here, if you don't mind, my beautiful friend.
Yeah,
this one comes from My Chess. Do you think that aliens believe in God? Looking beautiful, by the way.
Oh, thank you, my chess. That's a great question. No, I don't believe that they believe in God, and it would be absurd for me to speak for all of them, of course. But you see, I believe that, in fact, they believe they are God. Okay, and when we look at the history of ET contact, and if we go all the way back to the beginning of our human race in this world, we find that, in fact, we are a seeded race. We are a product of the hybridization program. You and I here today. It is a combination of genetic lines of these different ET races that have come together and genetically modified in a very specific and intelligent way to create the human races that we are today. And we are highly evolved, highly evolved races, actually. And so they do play this element of God. They have a different timeline of their lifespans. Remember, what we live as 100 years, they live thousands and thousands of years. So they work on a different timeline. But at the same time, I think that one thing that is commonly known among the multiverse, when you get to these higher dimensional planes, is that you have the opportunity to understand that source is through you, this infinite source, which we can call our creator, is that infinite source which we all come from. We have the ability to connect to. We have the ability to embody more of, depending on how much we want. And I think that these beings are aware of that to the point where some of these beings are also evolving. They're just like us humans. They are spiritually evolving in their processes as an extraterrestrial with whatever roles they're playing. Everything is evolving in a sense in the multiverse because everything is moving. So I do think that just like we are learning and waking up, they also are doing that. They are also transmuting, transforming, and becoming more aware.
Oh, wow. Okay. So do you think then, as aliens believe in themselves as being God, I have a different take on that. And it's okay to agree to disagree, but, if you're a believer in God, and God is the alpha and omega of everything, wouldn't aliens fall under that construct? Or what we perceive?
They do. Yeah.
Or do you
they do. But the problem... Mm-hmm.
No, please, go ahead.
Well, the thing is that we see them as highly advanced and intelligent, but some of them, remember, they're just like humans, and they are all a spectrum frequency. Some of them are super low, some of them are very high. The ones that are low are playing out parasitic roles, which means that they deny the fact that there is something higher for them to embody. They continue to perpetuate suffering because that's all they know. They parasite off other organisms. They create terrible hybridization programs. On the other side of that spectrum, we have the high-frequency ETs, which already see themselves as source, and they abide by some of the laws of free will and conscious interaction with other beings. So this is what I mean, that I have seen lower entity beings transform themselves into high beings, just like we evolve and wake up. So this is why I say that when they're sleeping, when they're in their parasitic phase, they think they're God because they're not understanding. They somehow externalize their power into playing out these little roles of monopoly, wars. They do all this kind of stuff. On the higher spectrum, they don't interfere with other organisms in a way that is negative or parasitic. So I don't know if it's that's what you mean, but that's what I mean.
Okay. Well, you know what? We'll agree to disagree on that one, and that's okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. White Owl would like to know, Dave, could it ever happen, like in Saved by an Angel, that your inner self and Geraldine's inner self switch bodies, and then you could learn each a valuable lesson?
Oh, that's interesting. Sure. I mean, we're one. We're one. There's no separation.
Geraldine, you don't want any of this. I'm just going to say. All right. You know, the perverse addiction to tacos, okay, and you know, and foul language and rock and roll and you don't want this. You don't want to see inside here. Let me tell you.
Come on. I've been there, done that.
I don't know what that means, but I'm all of a sudden just really, really scared. You know?
Oh, God.
Really, really scared. Oh, man. I don't know. This is why we love Geraldine out here. We can't keep secrets because she sees all and knows all. This is what's scary. Geraldine, regarding ET contact, the soul, and us, is there a connection that the ETs have with us from, say, prior incarnations? Or is it that our life force shines like a Kmart blue light special beacon to attract them to say, hey, this seems like a very cool individual. Let's check this out.
Yeah, so again, and I understand that sometimes when we explain these concepts, it seems like we're contradicting ourselves in that we're saying we're one, and the next thing we know, we're saying, you know, these different beings are carrying out different agendas. Well, the thing is that when we interact with these beings on other dimensional planes, we are meeting them through us. We are meeting fragments of ourselves. So let's say we see a draconian, that's us. This is us. It's a lower aspect of ourselves. Let's say we're seeing an Arcturian, same thing. It's a higher aspect of ourselves. So essentially, contact is a reflection of ourselves, and we can evolve and we can experience all the ranges of these beings that are on these different archetypes of frequency that we are. And it's just like here on Earth, you know, we have different phases in our life. We are evolving. We have experienced many different ways of being. If you look at your entire family nucleus, if you look at your ancestral lineage and even your immediate family, you're going to find that every single person in your family plays a specific role. And most families have very specific roles to maintain balance in that nucleus. All those personalities are pieces to a puzzle of a consciousness that has an opportunity in this lifetime to shift and change if it chooses. And so, much like us, we have all kinds of personalities, feelings, and emotions, and depending on the kind of work that we do, we can integrate them, all of those separate aspects of ourselves. So on the higher levels, ET conscious is the same way. We are meeting fragments of ourselves, which are these interdimensional aspects of ourselves manifested into the form of extraterrestrials, which we meet, we learn things from, we interact with, and we grow, or we contract, one or the other, depending on whether it's traumatic and how well you deal with the trauma of what you're experiencing. But all interactions are as a result of cause and effect. So wherever you're at vibrationally will call into your life in the physical and in the non-physical the kind of experiences that you need to help your soul evolve. And this is really what we mean by these kinds of contractual agreements, karmic agreements with these beings.
Let's continue on with some audience questions here. Marlene, over in the UK, can we use our own adrenochrome for our own source connections? Get our own euphoria for it?
That's an interesting question. No, because adrenochrome is actually a very, very specific substance that is created when the body goes through a tremendous amount of trauma. It is a secretion that the body, just like when we are stressed out, we secrete stress hormones that cause inflammation in our body. So this is similar. And the effect of this adrenochrome is very destructive to our genetic structure. Anything that's destructive to the genetic structure is destructive to your multidimensional body. It creates cracks, fragmentation of your soul, which means an aspect of you becomes broken off and suspended in a timeline. And so in order to create source connection, we have to do the way physics has taught us that light works, because we are light, we are energy. White light is all of the colors. When we see one color, it's all of the colors but that one color, remember? So we function the same way. Let's say we're one color, we need to come back to white light. And so we have to regroup all of the fragments of ourselves that we've experienced in this lifetime, in all lifetimes simultaneously, as we become one. And in this lifetime, we have a certain way of doing that based on our agreed lifestyle and lessons that you're going to learn. So this is really what it means to evolve forward. And it's a completely different process. It's an alchemical process of lower destruction, separation into unity and light and white. So that's kind of what's happening. It's two opposite energies.
Excellent answer. Excellent answer. My chess is asking, do you think that some aliens have taken the form of humans and are living right here on Earth?
Absolutely. In fact, I personally know some people that are shapeshifters. They have currently, and we have to understand, this is a lot more common than we are really willing to accept. Hybrid children that are being born today are highly, highly genetically activated, which means not only do they remember their past lives and their ET contact and lives on other planets, but they're displaying traits, strong traits of their bloodlines within these extraterrestrial bloodlines. Sometimes they have the physical features of these bloodlines. Some people have really, really big eyes, like all their bodies. Some people have different traits physically, whether that's in the sex of their body, or whether it's emotional traits, tendencies, psychological tendencies, and then physical things in their body. So for example, everything from the color of the skin, texture of the skin, anomalies in the body, children that are born with tails, for example, children that are born with different features in their physical body. All of those are expressions of these ancestral lineages, these genetic lineages. So I want you to keep that in mind, because that can include a very large population, right? So let's take it to the next step. People that are highly integrating their ET aspects sometimes have the ability to shapeshift between these forms. And literally, you will see the person change their face, their energy, into this different form. We have that ability, and all of us can do it. It is a mastery of ourselves that allows us to access this data, which is already encoded in our holographic DNA. We are just accessing that information. And so many of these ETs are living here, many of them. Many of them are carrying out the habits of those races. Some are very destructive, and we see them in these very dark governmental agencies, for example, that are carrying out some of these very awful, activities that are destructive of souls. And we also have very high-level beings that are carrying out incredible projects to help humankind evolve. So yes, I do think, and I know that they are. So
excellent. All right, let's get to another question. Al Menial is asking, what are their emotional capabilities, if you will? Their being aliens.
Yeah, so I get this question a lot, and I don't know why. There are some people that come to me that have read that aliens don't have emotions, or they don't have the emotional ranges that we do. That is true to an extent. We have to understand that because of the architecture, the geometrical structure that makes up our body allows for light to bend in a specific way that makes us utilize the 5 senses, 6 senses, 7 senses of our body in order to navigate the physical realm. We are designed for the physical realm. When you go up to the 10th dimensional plane, and let's say you're a Pleiadian, the architecture of your body, geometrically, energetically, is a completely different construct. You even look different. You have big eyes, you have a bigger brain, bigger head, bigger skull, like all these different traits that these beings have. Those traits are pertinent reflection, a direct reflection of their genetic makeup. And that genetic makeup allows them to hold frequencies, just like we can only see a certain spectrum of colors as humans, but there are all kinds of other spectrums of colors. These beings have access to more colors, more emotions, different states of consciousness. And what you're going to encounter in these higher level dimensional beings is the way that they communicate is it's broader. They communicate in infinities. They communicate with the self.
Going on vacation is the best, but planning a vacation, that you can certainly do without. So book a trip with Apple Vacations to Breathless Resorts and Spas. Whether you're looking for an all-inclusive couples retreat to the Caribbean or a family vacation, you can count on us to find a trip you and your family will love. Apple Vacations has over 50 years of providing stress-free vacations, so you can relax and make memories. Visit applevacations.com to plan your perfect vacation today. That's applevacations.com.
Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital, a partner of Memorial Hospital of Gulfport, is growing and seeking RNs. Work in a state-of-the-art setting with advanced technologies offering sign-on bonuses and benefits that start day one. To apply, visit encompasshealth.com/careers. Encompass Health is an equal opportunity employer.
The other, the whole, and the collective. This is how they communicate. So if you can process that, how would your emotions be if this was your way of communicating? Emotions would be definitely hyper-aware, sensitive to others, incredibly intuitive, fine-tuned and careful. Because at that dimensional layer, because emotions are so powerful, they manifest into the physical much faster in higher dimensional realms. So there's a completely different responsibility and mechanism of emotional expression. And they have to master that as a part of their evolutionary process. Imagine them as our future selves if we knew how to really use our emotions properly. We're headed in that direction. On the other end of the spectrum is artificial intelligence, complete lack of emotion, because they have closed off completely the awareness, the activity, and the navigation of their emotions. So they become basically like artificial intelligence, like robots. They just carry out specific, execute things. That's all that they're designed for. And their molecular structure and genetic structure and geometrical construct is also fitting for that. It's a lower density. Okay, so there's many things that we need to take into consideration when we talk about emotions, because emotions is more than just feelings. It's a vibrational frequency. It's a manifestation into a form, essentially.
All right, let's move on here. Baconator Henry, and I know for a vegan that's a strong name, is wondering, how is trauma breaking or fracturing our DNA?
Excellent question. So what happens is that when we experience trauma and so what happens in trauma? You have a data bank, let's say a filing cabinet of information. In the moment of trauma, the person comes into survival mode. They don't know how to respond to what's happening. It is so shocking and such a contrast to what they are familiar with, that when they go into the filing cabinet of data and information for how to respond to this event, they cannot find that data. So what happens is that literally that creates a destruction in the energetic body, and it creates a fragmentation, a splintering of your soul. Your life force becomes splintered. and is suspended in that timeline of the event. From the genetic aspect of that, what happens is that from the genetic code that's being written, it will be written into that code kind of like an anomaly or a disturbance or an out of alignment. We can see this in vivo when we look at pictures of DNA. The DNA of someone that is highly on drugs, highly on substances that are destructive to them, even the DNA looks destroyed. It's not a beautifully flowing spiral. It is a destructive, messed up cells that are put together in a sloppy way because it's like a computing system. There are errors in the writing of that code, like a computer. We literally function in that way. So when we talk about fragmentation, this is what happens when the genetic code is interrupted or disrupted in its writing of correct data. It creates fragmentation in the genetics, which usually ends up in illness when it's not handled at a time, and it creates energetic breaks in the body, and it creates a very strong reference point, stronger than the memory filing cabinet that you've created, which creates two aspects of yourself. And what happens is that now you're split, and so you continue creating more and more splits to the point where the human doesn't know who they are, what they are anymore. And until they reintegrate those fragments, they can then begin to sense, feel. Each one of these fragmentations holds data, emotional data. And when people are severely traumatized, let's say sexual abuse or something like that, it's so traumatic that they block it off, and they also block off a whole range of emotions up until that point in their development, in their age development. So let's say they get to adulthood, usually they are highly emotionally, I want to say like retarded in a way. They haven't caught up to the emotional maturity. It's an immaturity of emotions that they encounter because of the kind of trauma. So imagine if you're someone that has a lot of trauma, we have a lot of immaturity in emotion because we haven't learned how to deal with those fragments. And it isn't until we reunite them that we begin to heal body, mind, and soul.
Geraldine, always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk to you next month, my beautiful friend.
Awesome. Much love to you. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you soon. You can visit me at GeraldineOrozco.com.
Absolutely. GeraldineOrozco.com is her website. The Spiritual You will return in June at the halfway point. Coming up next, we're heading to the swamp, and Super Duke's here with a cryptid report.
Love you.
Love you too, dear.
Thank you so much.
You take
All
care,
right.
okay?
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye-bye.
Love her. Love her. Yep. I'll be right back, guys. Just too bloody hot. God damn. Hello, everybody. I can turn my headphones down. Mike Gambale, how you doing? And who else joined us in here late? Nell McKay, how are you? Good morning to you. Future Whale, welcome to SOR Chat. Applesauce, nice to see you. Uncle Jim Gunall, how are you, buddy? How is Bob? Jim, how was your visit with Bob? I want to say a big thank you to our good friends and Super Chatters, Candy, Liliopatra, Phil, Thomas, and Steve. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Thank you, Shelley, for adding to it. We really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Sensational Shelley has returned. So thank you. Super Duke's hair is looking perfect for tonight. And here we go.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live, Odyssey Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Sabulous. Sabulous is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight where we head to the swamp. Our resident swamp dweller has another spooky story lined up for us.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. Hello, Swamp Dweller. I hope you're doing well. I am a woman who spends a lot of time out in the woods hiking. You can call me Wanderer. Anyway, I have an experience that I think you and your viewers may find interesting. I live in Southern California and have been playing a sort of game with an odd creature in the local woods here. But I suppose I should explain a little bit first. Hiking and exploring is something I have done for years. It's something I really enjoy. But growing up, my grandfather had always told me there were rules to do so safely. Tell people or someone the general area you'll be in and for how long. Always have a backpack of things in case things go wrong. Food, water, medical supplies, and something to keep you warm. Always treat the area line that you may be visiting as someone else's home, with respect and clean after yourself. I've always followed those basic rules and even added a few of my own as I got older, which has turned into a sort of a silly habit. I knock before I walk in and bring little extra things, almost like a small gift for the woods when I go. I bring some fruit or small nature-themed gift I make while I'm there. It was when I started doing those things that I noticed there was something in the woods watching me. It started sort of small at first, when I would notice that the birds would get silent and would leave and there would be no sound anywhere for a few moments. It would be unnerving, and I'd decide that it was time to leave that area. But things would eventually return to normal, noise and everything. Eventually, a branch across the trail that wasn't there before caught my attention. Odd footprints that didn't belong to any animal I'd recognized started to show up, and too many weird things that I could even count started happening in such a short time. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's the woods, there's going to be fallen tree branches and animal prints. And I would have to say, while I would normally agree with this, things kept happening every single time I stopped. It was about the fourth time it happened when I began to wonder what was going on. It was still dead silent. Not a single animal could be heard, and I hadn't seen a single sign of life in hours. I stared at the branch laying across the trail ahead of me and looked at the animal prints all over. Curiosity set in and I crouched down to look at the footprints, and that's when things got even weirder. It's a set of footprints that go from large paws to hooves back to paws and then human bare feet. They didn't overlap, but consistently they seemed to stay in a single file like it was walking forward. I was chalking this up to a bad joke or not wanting to automatically think it was something unexplainable. I was about to get up and go back on my way when a twig snapped behind me. I froze and listened, keeping still where I was crouching. I wasn't sure what it was. I was hoping it was an animal, or maybe it was just some crazy person doing all of this. Moving slowly, I reached into my backpack while whatever it was walked closer from behind. I was terrified to look, but hoped it was an animal. I could distract that thing at least. I pulled out an apple from my bag and rolled it behind me. There was a slight rustling sound like something pounced or chased after it, and I slowly stood up and briskly walked away. You never want to run away if it's an animal or a person. Whatever it was followed me for a bit on the trail, and it absolutely terrified me. It never moved faster, just keeping pace with me before suddenly it seemed to wander off. It was then that I took a deep exhale, not realizing I had been holding my breath the entire time. Shaking, I turned, finally feeling brave enough to see that I could glimpse whatever it was. There was nothing in any direction I looked. I began to feel nervous and feeling silly because it was probably something like a small raccoon or something like that. At least, that's what I tried to convince myself. With another laugh, I shifted my backpack and continued my way. But it wasn't long after I would find out that it couldn't be either of those things. Right before leaving the trail, there was another branch blocking the path, but this one had an apple on it. The apple from before that I rolled behind me. This kind of freaked me out and I began looking around, turning constantly to find who or what it was. But again, there was nothing around me. This would be the start of the game we would play. After this first experience, it took me a few days to calm down before the call of the woods got too strong and I grabbed my bag and headed back out to hike again. I kept the routine up. I still would knock, leave my gifts, but now they would be moved and popped up somewhere else in the woods. And every now and then, something else would feel off. And sometimes I would notice that there would be a shiny rock or a feather or some sort of gnarly stick left there too. It was weirdly charming, as if they were gifting me something in return. I would laugh and take the items and put them somewhere else and find them again later, somehow moved miles away from where I had set them. If I would leave the fruit but take the item that was left with it, I'd come back to the fruit gone, and it wouldn't reappear. There would be something on occasion walking behind me when we played this game. I never turned around because I was scared of whatever animal or thing this would be. I was almost scared that if I broke this sort of anonymity, the game would end. For a good while, I was convinced this was an animal of some kind, and would tell my friends about it. Eventually, one wanted to come along and see it, and they wanted to see if they could spot this mystery animal. I agreed, delighted to finally share the game with someone else. This was a mistake. My friend got invasive during the hike. He walked past me before I could do my usual knocking at the beginning of the hike. This annoyed me a little because he made a big deal to drag me along with him. But shrugging it off, I followed, taking him around the trails and showing him this little game that we had been playing. Unfortunately, this is where things got bad and much more weird. The familiar trails now didn't feel as nice as they had before. They were quiet again, and there were lots of random branches all over, making it hard to make any sort of progress at a fast pace. My friend even tripped a few times. After falling and skinning his knee, we stopped for a break. I went to get some bandages out of my backpack and saw the wood-round necklace I made for the game this time. Sighing because I didn't think I'd get to play it today, I hung the necklace up on a low branch and went to help my friend. He looked at the necklace and asked why I set it out so soon. I shrugged, saying I felt like we should probably go back since the trip really hadn't gone well. While we were talking, though, there was a rustling, and we looked around but saw nothing. My friend, though, pointed, saying the necklace was gone. It was odd. It was pretty far off the ground. There was no way a cute little animal could have reached it.
Going on vacation is the best, but planning a vacation, that you can certainly do without. So book a trip with Apple Vacations to Breathless Resorts and Spas. Whether you're looking for an all-inclusive couples retreat to the Caribbean or a family vacation, you can count on us to find a trip you and your family will love. Apple Vacations has over 50 years of providing stress-free vacations, so you can relax and make memories. Visit applevacations.com to plan your perfect vacation today. That's applevacations.com.
Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital, a partner of Memorial Hospital of Gulfport, is growing and seeking RNs. Work in a state-of-the-art setting with advanced technologies offering sign-on bonuses and benefits that start day one. To apply, visit encompasshealth.com/careers. Encompass Health is an equal opportunity employer.
And if anything bigger had taken it, we would have definitely noticed it. We looked and there was nothing again. My friend was annoyed, though, because we hadn't saw anything. So he pulled his phone out and snapped a few photos of the spot, and we left. The walk back was uneventful. A few days later, though, my friend called, saying me he thinks he caught that thing I've been playing with on camera. He sends me a text with the zoomed-in photo of the spot there. Crouched down in the bushes is a dark, black, gray figure with yellow-looking eyes. It's glaring at the screen. I have no idea what this thing is, but it's definitely not an animal. It's blended so well with the area that it's nearly impossible to see. Whatever it was had a human-like face. There was no muzzle or snout. No shaggy fur or hair, but it seemed to know it could hide easily and that it needed to crouch down to avoid us seeing it. There was such an angry expression on its face that it put me off from going back. I was left feeling like I was not supposed to bring my friend, and by doing so I had made this thing very angry. I have no idea what this thing is, but if anybody here has ever heard of a creature like this, please let me know. I wish I hadn't looked at the photo and kept thinking it was just an animal.
Oh, another spooky one from the Swamp Dweller. You know, that story makes me wonder about my own gifting sites, whether I'm communicating with Sasquatch or whether I am communicating with something else. Oh, it's just absolutely freaky. All right, it is that time once again where we stick with the monsters. And the big monster himself, the beautiful-looking Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio, is here to hang out with another cryptid report. All right, Super Duke. It's always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio. How you doing this week?
I'm hanging in there, Dave. It's been, since I got back from the conference, it's been ranging between weird and disturbing.
Oh,
well,
you got to tell me what's going on then.
Happening.
What is weird and disturbing?
Well, I'm preempting the giant report for right now because there's actual things that are happening right now. And one of them, it just happened 2 days ago. I was talking to Professor Caveman, Randy Yazzie, who's been on the show before, and he just had a sighting night before last. And he said they had a windstorm down there, and the light, the flame that was keeping the furnace on one of his neighbor's houses going got blown out, and she's a little old lady. So he's only a few miles away, and he decides to go cruise on over there. Now, before I tell you the rest of this story, let me mention something that he's got, like, at any time, potentially 3 pickup trucks, but usually only one working. And whichever one is working will definitely be making distinctive sounds. That plays into the later on part here. So he drives over there and he helps the little old lady out and gets her pilot light back on again. So she's got her heater going and he takes off, and it's now after dark. And since a closer route back to his house is along this drainage canal, 1-lane dirt road, middle of nowhere, Navajo reservation, he decides to take that route. He gets a couple miles away from his house and he sees some guy walking down the road, and he kind of thinks that's a little peculiar, a little bit dangerous, walking around in the dark by yourself. But as he starts getting closer, the little dog that he's got, and he says is like a Chihuahua Dachshund mix or a Chi-Hund or something. I don't know what that would be. Some kind of teeny little dog was up on the front looking out the window and actually yipped at him. He said, "Oh, what are you barking at? Calm down." The dog jumped down on the seat and then started looking through the side window at him. And the guy closer, he was yipping at him. And now Caveman's really starting to pay attention. What's going on? Why is this guy walking around out here in the dark? He's getting closer. He realizes the guy is way too tall. And he seems to be wearing like black rags or something.
Oh, no.
So now he's starting to figure out, oh my God, there's a Sasquatch walking down the road. And he's not bothering to get off of it. Now here's the peculiar part. There is a tree line maybe 60, 70 feet away. He could have easily sprinted over there and gotten in it and been hiding. No, he's just walking right down the road. So Caveman gets up closer, and now he's really sure what it is, and he starts slowing down, and he pulls over to the left side of the road. So he's got maybe 20 feet between him and the suspect walking down the road as he goes slowly driving by at 5 or 10 miles an hour, and never turns and looks at him, never stops walking, doesn't try and get off the road, just keeps walking. He said, well, his adrenaline was pumping for about 2 hours after that, and he just couldn't figure it out. And I said, look, how long have you been living there? And they've been stealing grain out of your horse trough. Oh, a long time. They're around your place all the time, right? Yeah. You think that was one of the local ones? Yeah. Okay, even your dogs know the sound of your truck coming before it gets to your house. They're already barking, right? Yeah. So when you were driving down the road behind him and there's no other vehicle sounds, he knew that was your truck. And he isn't scared of you. So he just didn't even bother to run away. He just kept walking. And Caveman just said, oh my God, I think you're probably right on that one. But he's been around him since he was a little kid. He's probably got the same ones hanging around him now as when he was a little kid. They've been around him for decades. So they're not scared of him.
How do you even do that?
It's mind-boggling. I know several people that are like that, though, but most of them haven't had that much time with the same group of Sasquatch interacting with them, or the Hostines Zistoi, as they call him down there, the big man. But in other more alarming and less amusing Bigfoot news, right now there is the Kill Lodge expedition going on with Robert Kreider, who's also been a guest on my channel before. And for some reason, they decided they want to go into this area where there are known to be hostile, aggressive Sasquatch and try and camp there, which I think is borderline suicidal. I am not in favor of it. And this whole story starts 4 or 5 years ago when he was going through this one area high in the mountains. And again, he's kind of in the same area Caveman's in. I think he's in New Mexico right now where they're at. But high up there, it's an area that people don't usually go into. They're walking around looking for Bigfoot tracks in the winter, and they find human tracks. And the human track line has lots of blood all over it. Like somebody is gushing blood all over the place. And they figure out right away it has to be a head wound, because otherwise he would have fell over right away. So they filmed this too. They followed his trail for miles until he actually apparently made it out of the woods again. And they checked with the rangers, and yeah, he was alive and everything. And they're figuring he got beaten in the head with, something, because they found apparently what was like brain matter. So he got his head cracked right open. So for some reason, this made them think this was a good place to go investigate. And now he says, according to Robert, over the last 3 years, 31 people have gone missing in this area, which again tells me this is not a good place to go camp. I've also been contacted by 2 of my friends that are psychics, and they contact and talk to the Sasquatch regularly, and they said they were both warned by their Sasquatch to tell Kreider not to go there. So This is quite the nail-biting situation right now. One of the guys on the team is from Trailed Bigfoot in Florida. He posted about a 4-minute long post earlier today on his channel, updating people that they had made it up to 10,000 feet and that they had their camp set up, and showed a little bit of it. And then according to Bigfoot in Germany, Chris Reinhardt came on afterwards on his channel and did a stream for a few minutes, and there was activity going on. Robert said he could see something in the background on the video, and mysteriously and disturbingly enough, said video is not on his channel.
Really?
Yes, really. This is going on right now in real time. They are up there in the dark with the not friendly, apparently, Sasquatch that are up there.
So you think the Sasquatch are canceling out their videos?
Yeah, we've asked Bigfoot in Germany and chat if they can do that. We've seen them do all kinds of weird things with it. It could be possibly just, didn't hit save on it, or I don't know how the hell it works with a phone or whatever he was broadcasting with. But that is one possibility. We both had examples of them changing video, erasing video. They can do all kinds of weird things. Robin McCrae will tell you that. That's the cryptid that can do the most weird things with video and pictures. They can alter them after the fact.
That is so strange, man. So strange.
Well, I think Robert's banking on them being, like maybe afraid of a big group or something. I don't know how much they got in the way of firearms. They were talking about having bike helmets and hockey armor and stuff in case they get rocks chucked at them. But if that's one of the clans that are eaters, which apparently they are, I don't think they really care how many people are there. They may just decide to kill them anyway. And if they have, some of these clans have paranormal abilities, other ones don't. And we don't know which type of clan this is. Robert doesn't believe they have paranormal abilities. That's a real mistake. And, one of them that's cloaked just decides to walk up and twist his head off like a bottle top. Ain't going to be shit he can do about it. Oops, excuse me.
Bad. I mean, that is just horrific. Why would they stay in that area, Duke?
Exactly. When there's lots of other places where he knows that they are and they're non-aggressive and he can go there over and over again and with relative safety, do research on them, why would you want to go into an area like that and bring 6 other people with you? If you think it's worth going in there by yourself and don't risk anybody else's life. I'm sorry, but that just twerks me off. I would never do that with anybody on my team.
Well, I mean, everybody has their own opinion on what they want to do, and some people are there for the how can we say this, Duke? For the thrill zone. You know what I'm saying? They're there, they figure, you know what, if Sasquatch rips my head off, well, it's a good death. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you remember Timothy Treadwell?
No.
He's the grizzly man that was up there habituating Kodiak bears.
That's right.
And being vehemently on their side, and they're peaceful and all that good stuff. And he had habituated all the local ones in his area, and then a rogue came through and ate him and his girlfriend.
Yeah, that was.
And this is the same principle as I've said over and over again. The Sasquatch that are willing to put up with humans tend to actually live fairly close to us because they like to take advantage of us and whatever food sources we have available. The ones that hate humans live further out in the middle of nowhere. Again, that's exactly where these guys are, further out the middle of nowhere, 10,000 feet up in the mountains. And to make things worse, apparently this area is basically closed. You're not supposed to be going in it. So how are they in there? How'd they pull a permit? Or was there no permit? They're just sneaking in there? I don't know what the situation is there. But he won't tell anybody exactly where it is.
Well, Duke, I mean, let's face it. There are researchers out there, it doesn't matter whether it's in the cryptid, the paranormal world, UFOs, who always feel they have to go that extra distance, in order to get what they need. I mean, it's selfish, to be blunt. It is selfish.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's just egotistical, and Bigfoot hates egotism, so you're not going to get very close to him with that kind of an attitude. And the other thing is, if you want to go out and risk your own life and camp with them by yourself, I've done it. Don't take somebody else with you until you're sure that they're safe. And why you would want to go to an area where they're known to be aggressive, other than to provoke them, I have no idea.
Well, these are also probably people who feel that you can take it down with an M16 or an AK-47 or an AR-15.
Yeah, good luck with that theory.
No, but that's the truth.
Yeah, I know they feel that, but they would be incorrect. 223, which is your standard M16 AR-15 round, is just like shooting at one of us with a pellet gun. Just going to twerk us off. It's not going to do any actual damage.
Either way, I'm still not convinced that bringing a gun around Sasquatch is a good thing. But that's just me.
Yeah, well, if I was in their situation, I'd be incredibly heavily armed because these guys do not play around. And if what he's saying is accurate, and 31 people have gone missing in that area in the last 3 years, they're definitely not friendly.
Duke, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to continue on with the cryptid report from World Bigfoot Radio and Duke Sullivan, whose hair looks immaculate tonight. And we always like having the cryptid report hanging on out with us on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be back for the final half hour, the cryptid report, and Shirky Poo's news. So stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Thank you, Michael, for that awesome super chat. Very much appreciated, along with Shelley, Candy, Liliopatra, Phil, Thomas, and Steve. Very much appreciate the love, everyone. Thank you. Boom to you, gorgeous Bama. The stunning Jessica S. 405er, good to see you. Oh, I had, excuse me, Indian food tonight, and I could just feel the heartburn coming.
Yum, yum.
Oh, I love the Indian food. I will eat it again tomorrow, because I'm stupid that way.
I used to eat curry all the time, and I like the even hotter curries, but Indian food was kind of bland after a while. I was into the Sri Lankan curries and stuff like that, so I spent about 20 years trying to figure out exactly how to cook Vietnamese curried chicken, and I actually got that down finally.
That sounds good.
It's really good if you do it right, and it's so easy to do it wrong.
Oh, yeah. I hear you there, buddy.
Yep.
I hear you there.
For the guy in chat, I don't actually have any kind of anything in my hair other than I wash it and it turns curly, and this is what it looks like.
Hello there, Mystics Walk. How are you? Ooh, but can you give us an update on Lola, please? We'd appreciate that. How's she doing?
Taco curry. You got the most hilarious chat room on YouTube. Yeah, I've got a dangerous area that I got to investigate later this summer that my former roommate found. It's original forest. It's never been cut down. There's 500-600-year-old trees there. And they had gigantic structures in there. He says they're bigger than the ones that I found in my usual area. And none of them are from the trees in there. They've been ripping out whole lodgepole pines and hauling them into this valley and making structures out of them. But he says they're also really aggressive. The last time he was in there trying to pick mushrooms, they started like ripping out small trees and throwing them at him.
Nice.
So I said, yeah, if we go in there, we're just going in for a little while during the day, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I just had a puke burp, dude.
Oh, man. Drink some milk.
Oh, I don't have any milk around.
Dang.
Uh-huh.
Dang, blast it.
We'll quickly show the official official guard dog of Spaced Out Radio here. Hold on.
Was Doug in there?
There she is.
Oh, okay.
Little Lola. God, she's gorgeous. That's Joe's puppy. Oh, she's so
cute.
She's so cute.
Very cute. Hey, Bama.
I just want to squeeze her. She's so cute. She listens to the show and falls asleep every night to the show. Yeah, she's going to know Uncle Dave's voice pretty darn good.
That'll turn into a habit.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that.
Oh. Yeah, so anyway, I'm basically, my attention is centered on being worried about these guys up there risking their lives needlessly, trying to camp overnight in a place like that.
Well, hey, buddy, you can't stop stupid. Hi, Stunning Dan Smith. Hello, Alien Critter. It's the way it is, buddy. You can't stop stupid.
Did you ever play Dungeons and Dragons?
No.
They got character cards that give all of the attributes of the character that you are playing, so they're mathematically reduced to certain quantities, and there are different brackets. There's strength and constitution and dexterity and intelligence and wisdom. And when you think about it, wait, why is there intelligence and wisdom? Well, apparently because they're two separate things. Because like some people can have a very high intelligence score and have a very low wisdom score. And that's really what we're talking about.
I hear you, Ben. We got 15 seconds. Five seconds. We're rounded third. We're headed for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you, including Rocking Out to Bumblefoot, reading Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on with Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio and the World Bigfoot Radio Cryptid Report right here on the mighty SOR. Super Duke, welcome back.
Howdy, everybody. Before the break, we were talking about things that are currently going on here in the U.S., and now let's do something completely different. As it comes to my attention, and I've been tracking this for a while, the Solomon Islands are not only a place where we fought in World War II, but they're kind of a place you don't want to go to because headhunting natives, cannibals, bone-crushing crocodiles, sharks that will eat Dave if he tries to swim away from the island, and giants. And then you go, giants? Whoa.
Going on vacation is the best, but planning a vacation, that you can certainly do without. So book a trip with Apple Vacations to Breathless Resorts and Spas. Whether you're looking for an all-inclusive couples retreat to the Caribbean or a family vacation, you can count on us to find a trip you and your family will love. Apple Vacations has over 50 years of providing stress-free vacations, so you can relax and make memories. Visit applevacations.com to plan your perfect vacation today. That's applevacations.com.
Encompass Health Rehabilitation Hospital, a partner of Memorial Hospital of Gulfport, is growing and seeking RNs. Work in a state-of-the-art setting with advanced technologies offering sign-on bonuses and benefits that start day one. To apply, visit encompasshealth.com/careers. Encompass Health is an equal opportunity employer.
What? And I'm not talking about old-time giant reports and sightings. I'm talking about right up to present day. And as a matter of fact, some of these have been reported on the local TV channels there in the Solomon Islands, because that's how seriously they take it. This isn't like, haha, there was a giant sighting. It's like, no, there was a giant sighting over here. Stay out of that area, sort of thing. And there's also a lot of UFO stuff that happened there. A good example of this would be World War II veterans of the Guadalcanal campaign said that one night, whilst anchored at Iron Bottom Sound, they saw scores of balls of light type UFOs overflying their battleships. And remember, battleships have lots of other tertiary ships around them in a triangular formation. But as none of the men aboard the battleships understood at the time what they were seeing and thought it could be a Japanese secret weapon, the ships were scrambled to full alert. Naval Headquarters Hawaii was immediately contacted, but as the 50 UFOs did not return after their slow flyover, all aboard the ships were told by the superiors, "Do forget about it." Though obviously some didn't. So who are flying these UFOs is the real question. And remember, this is during the middle of World War II, and Foo Fighters didn't even come around until Germany was collapsing at the end of the war. So at that point, they had no idea about any kind of weird flying objects. So very, very strange. Here's the other thing now. We get back to the giants again. This is the author of this, by the way, I'm reading from Solomon Island Mysteries by Marius Boyran, who is a local there. And he says, I point out the Solomon Islanders, and I suppose the Papua New Guinea, and to a lesser extent, the Vanuatu people, lack understanding that the giant race living among them is a major scientific discovery to the rest of the modern world. Whether by design or not, it is appropriate that the Solomon Islands national logo is, quote, the place that time forgot, unquote. Guadalcanal is rich in gold, a fact the Europeans discovered centuries ago. Now, this is the weird story that attracted me to this because of the gold mining. 30 years ago, different gold mining companies started negotiating with the traditional landowners with memorandums of understanding in order to capitalize on this gold. A succession of failed attempts followed until recent years, when through alleged bribery, which is a common practice in the Solomon Islands government, Russ Mining broke through with a 3% deal to the indigenous people. In 1998, at Gold Ridge, where the mine was being built, they got going with their bigger type of mining bulldozers clearing the mining area. And I've seen pictures of this. I've shown them on my show before. The mine borders the giants' territory, and it would appear that they are quite territorial. On one occasion, one of the huge bulldozers broke down, with one of the pins on the blade attached rendered useless. As it was late in the afternoon, they decided to drop the blade entirely there and take the bulldozer on a semi-trailer back to the workshop to do the repairs overnight, to continue on the next day. When they returned the next morning, however, the blade had disappeared. All the boys became confused. How could such a heavy object simply disappear? Mind you, this blade weighed 10 tons or more. So they started scouting around in the nearby bush and happened to notice giant footprints, 3 to 4 feet in length, close to where the blade had been left. Finally, some 100-odd meters away on a small nearby hill, one of the boys called out, "Here it is!" From further footprint investigation, they deduced that the giants had not carried it there, but had thrown it, or it had got there some other way. By the way, this still inoperative gold mine at Gold Ridge, which from the island's geology reports is small compared to the potential of several other areas, has an estimated 20 billion Australian dollars worth of gold still remaining in it.
All being protected by these damn giants.
Yeah, that appears to like he said, they're kind of territorial, and this was right on the edge of their territory. There's a ton of stories in here about giants in the Solomon Island, from real short accounts to really, really long ones. And possibly next week, we might have enough time to go through the whole story of the Giant King. And the Giant King, fairly recently, they were on the islands, and of course, they're near Australia. And in the course of the things that were going on, they sort of accidentally captured this young giant, because he was sneaking around this village, and he was so little, he could pass for an adult human, which is what they thought he was, but he wasn't. And after he spent a bunch of time with humans, he finally got back to his home island, and then he convinced the rest of the giants that, like eating humans, bad idea, which led to a whole bunch more events. But absolutely fascinating story.
Really? I love it. Duke, when you hear stories like that, I mean, what's the limit on these creatures? Okay, like I find it hard to fathom a creature that is standing, 18, 20 feet high, was a 3 or 4 foot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. It's just mind-boggling and horrifying, but there it is. If you go look at Machu Picchu, it's a mountaintop fortress down in South America that they presume was built by the Incas or whoever at some point in the dim past. And they never really show you certain parts of it. You always get to see that picture from up on the hill, kind of looking down across it. And it's at like 7,000 feet on this mountaintop, so it's about the same altitude as the valley I do Sasquatch research in, the middle of the mountain range. But the interesting thing about this is the parts they never show you would give you a real good idea of the scale of this thing. First of all, the doorways in there are 35 feet high. Why, when you're building out of megalithic blocks at the top of a mountain, would you make a 35-foot high doorway unless you needed a 35-foot high doorway? Also, the steps going up to it have been modified. They were so big a human couldn't conveniently step up them, and somebody later on came in and filled in blocks on each step to make it more the size where a human could step and go up it. So I don't think humans even built that thing, and that's a typical example. There are megaliths all over the earth that are just way outsized for what's needed. And why are you going to go to all that extra trouble to make these gigantic megalithic things that are, 6 times as tall as what you need for a human to fit? If you're just building a simple fortification on top of a mountain, that's completely ridiculous. Why would you do it?
Oh, very true. And I understand the logic behind that thinking, but I mean, like even north of me, Duke, here in BC, where I'm getting reports of 14, 15, 18, 19, 20-foot Sasquatch that are allegedly living in the northern part of British Columbia into the Yukon and Alaska.
I know, and it just boggles your mind that they can be that big, but yet, people find the tracks. People see them. Blaine Tyler, that's been on your show from Northeast Ontario up there, he filmed an apparent 17-foot Sasquatch, and he went to the tree it was standing next to and scaled it with his tape measure to figure out exactly how tall the top of its pointy head was, which was 17 feet. And this thing wasn't skinny. It was built like the Hulk. You can only imagine, 2 tons plus weight on something like that. And, again, how the hell can anything like that hide without paranormal abilities? That's the question I want to ask the flesh and blood guys, because we got some of these big guys on video, and some of it can be just people that can't really judge height very well. They see something over 8 feet and they're like, oh God, it was 20 feet tall. But you got other people that are actual researchers that don't, that have a good idea on how tall is, that go back and measure them. Caveman was another one. He got called by a rancher that had his cattle up in this high pasture, and as he was driving the cattle back out again, there was a Sasquatch standing next to a tree that he swore was like between 15 and 20 feet tall. So Caveman came up there, and he went to the exact tree where this thing was standing, and he found the gigantic footprints, and he took his tape measure, and he measured up to where the guy said its head was, and again, it was in between 15 and 20 feet. So you're getting reliable eyewitnesses that don't spook that easy, and researchers that really don't spook that easy, going back to double check on this stuff. There actually seem to be ones that are that big. And even, myself, the biggest track I found is 3 tracks in a row, 21 inch. That's a pretty big individual. My research assistant, Mike, found mountain giant tracks that were, 24, 26 inches long. There's gigantic things walking around out in the woods.
That there is, my friend. That there is. We got about 3 minutes left with you tonight. You know, I want to get back to this whole safety issue that we talked about in the first part of the cryptid report, because a lot of people out there, you know, who have never had an experience, or even if you are an experienced researcher, we tend to, you know, how can I put it? We tend to really push the limits of what we know and what we have and what we've discovered. When you're dealing with a creature like Sasquatch, where we've only heard the legends, we've only heard the stories, and some firsthand accounts, even in nature, Duke, whether it's bears, cougars, okay, mountain lions, snakes, whatever it may be, we know going into that territory what we have to do to stay safe. If we're going into a highly concentrated area of rattlesnakes, you know, a lot of people will wear leather guards up their shins and legs in case of strikes. Do you see what I'm saying? Yet with Sasquatch, we tend to be a little bit more lax on this. Am I wrong on being lax?
No, I totally agree with you. And, you know, I think it's crazy because they should be considered to be more dangerous than the usual animals are. They're a lot more intelligent, and they're individuals. They're not like, you know, most grizzlies will react the same way. You can't rely on that with Sasquatch. They're too smart. There's good ones, bad ones, crazy ones. And the crazy ones tend to stay far away from humans. So my motto is safety first, last, and always. That's what keeps you alive, and that's what keeps all your team members alive. When you start taking crazy risks, that may seem fun to a teenager, but to an adult, it just seems kind of stupid. You know, if you succeed, well, yay, good for you. And if you don't succeed and some of your team members get killed, then what? What if you get killed? And what are you trying to succeed at? Going up there to look at some structures? Fiddle-dee-dee. There's big structures all over the place. You don't have to go into an area with dangerous Sasquatch to do that. Thrill seekers have short lifespans.
I can understand that, and I can appreciate that. Does this mean, though, as we move forward, that we are going to see more violent interactions with Sasquatch if attitudes like this continue?
Well, if humans keep pushing them, you know, it's not your prized thoroughbred. It's not your pet dog. This is a very intelligent, very capable being that outmatches you in every way physically, and some of them have paranormal abilities too. You have no chance whatsoever. And you're really asking for it. Even in the ones that are neutral disposition, they can easily lose their temper if you do something stupid. The ones that have no temper to start with and can't stand humans, you know, it's suicidal to even be around them, bottom line. So, you know, that's just my opinion on that one. And that's not even counting some of the more dangerous cryptids like Dogman and stuff like that you have even shorter tempers, less patience for stupid humans. Yeah, that's the way they look at us. Ew, stupid humans. Should I squish it or ignore it?
Well, I would prefer not to be squished. That's
yeah. Those are sort of the options.
Saying.
The only thing that prevents them from killing us is they have a cultural taboo against killing us. Even though we don't realize the Sasquatch are people, they realize we are people. And so murder is murder is murder, whether it's one of us or one of them. That's a no-no. But the ones that don't follow any rules, that are essentially they're criminals, and or maybe they have their own group that don't follow the rules, well, they don't give a shit if they murder you. They don't follow the rules.
Well, I appreciate that, my friend. Duke, it's always a pleasure to have you on Spaced Out Radio, my friend. It's always good times with you, and you're extremely knowledgeable. So thank you for the great time, my friend.
Love you, Dave. Thanks to everybody out there listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. And we'll see you again on Thursday.
As always. See you, Uncle Duke. We call him Uncle Dookie Poo around here because we can. And now let's get to Shirky Poo's news. All right, let's get to Shirky Poo's news. We're going to start off with a really cool story here. 100-year-old Walter Orthman of Brazil has broken a Guinness World Record for the longest tenure at the same company. Orthman was born on April 19th, 1922, in the small Brazilian town of Brusque. He started working at 15 to help his parents with financial issues. On January 17, 1938, he was hired as a shipping assistant for a textile company, Industrias Renault S.A., known as Renaultview. He was quickly promoted to a sales position and then became sales manager, a post that he's held ever since. He's now been with the company for more than 84 years, breaking the Guinness World Record for the longest tenure with the same company. Orthman described this record as his proudest achievement. He said that focusing on the present was what drove him to make history. I don't do much planning, nor do I care much about tomorrow. All I care about is that tomorrow will be another day in which I will wake up, get up, exercise, and go to work, he said in news release. You need to get busy with the present, not the past or the future. Here and now is what counts. God bless him. Let him keep going. That is just impressive. Well, here's a weird one. A conservative MP over the United Kingdom has resigned after he was seen watching pornos in the House of Commons, as he said he was simply, in fact, attempting to watch something about tractors. Neil Parish, the MP for Tiverton and Honiton in Devon, claims he found himself on the porn website accidentally in the first case, but then went back on a second occasion while in Parliament just to make sure, which he described as his biggest crime and a moment of madness. He's a porno addict. Yes, Parish said the situation was that, funnily enough, it was tractors I was looking at. I did get into another website that had a very similar name, and I watched it for a bit, which I shouldn't have done. But my biggest crime, is that on another occasion I went in a second time that was sitting waiting to vote on the other side of the chamber. The 65-year-old Tory MP admitted that he did what he did was absolutely wrong, and added, I will have to live with this for the rest of my life. I made a huge, terrible mistake, and I'm here to tell the world I was wrong what I was doing. But this idea that I was there watching it, intimidating women, I have 12 years in Parliament and probably got one of the best reputations ever, or did have. I was wrong, I was stupid, I lost my sense of mind. All right, so he has a whole thing on Pornhub. Who cares? You ever wonder what happens when you die on Everest? Yeah, it's a harsh reality for many, as the number of people who have died attempting to reach the summit and a gruesome fate remains for the bodies that have left behind. So, on the big mountain, known as the death zone, low oxygen combined with high barometric pressure makes it incredibly hard climbers to breathe. Nelson Dellis, our famous guest, 4 times he's tried, 4 times he's lost. 300 people have died on the mountain. It's a standard protocol to leave the dead bodies where they lie for logistical reasons. However, there also remains trail markers for mountaineers looking towards the summit. One climber named Green Boots quickly became a gruesome reminder for almost every climber who passed the death zone. And you know what? They're still trying to figure out what they're going to do. It costs up to $70,000 to remove a body from Everest. Yeah. 70 grand. That's an expensive death. Yeah. Who pays for that? All depends if the family wants the body back. That is your news for tonight. Thank you, Shirky Poo, for delivering the weirdness once again. Thank you to Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio for hanging on out with all the cryptid stories on the Cryptid Report. And to our good friend Swamp Dweller for coming on in, giving us another spooky story, because that's what he loves to do. We'll get another one tomorrow night. And of course, the lovely and talented Geraldine Orozco with the Spiritual You. We will talk to her at the beginning of June again. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAM, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we got room for them too. Good night.
Going on vacation is the best, but planning a vacation, that you can certainly do without. So book a trip with Apple Vacations to Breathless Resorts and Spas. Whether you're looking for an all-inclusive couples retreat to the Caribbean or a family vacation, you can count on us to find a trip you and your family will love. Apple Vacations has over 50 years of providing stress-free vacations, so you can relax and make memories. Visit applevacations.com to plan your perfect vacation today. That's applevacations.com.
When it's time for an adventure on the open highway, one quick call to American Family Insurance gets you headed in the right direction. Our Travel Peace of Mind package is there if you encounter a bump in the road. From roadside assistance to rental car coverage, we have you covered. Find a local agent or get a quote at amfam.com.
American Family Insurance.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.